Growing up on the family farm here, I can remember making things with wood, I would say, since I was 8 or 9. In school, the subjects I would have picked would have been woodwork, metalwork, technical drawing, and the projects were something that I really took to. The idea of making a folder, documenting a process, working out how to make something and then making it. From that, I started wood turning when I was 15 and had a small business with a friend of mine in school, and we made wood turning items such as bowls, lamps, candlesticks. I ended up winning an award for the local student enterprise, and that was a real boost to get me more interested in the potential of doing woodwork as a career. For Leaving Cert, I made a spinning wheel, which is, I suppose, for a wood turner, quite a challenge because it's got all these spindles. I was quite keen on wood turning at that time, so that's why I choose to make a spinning wheel. Once I finished my secondary school and did my Leaving Cert, I then went to study architecture in UCD. I wanted something that would open up my horizons and see new things. So I wanted to see more of what was possible in terms of design. When I was studying architecture, I suppose I was in a little bit of a conflict in terms I wanted to make furniture. I always made projects during the summer, and those projects then, after my 5 years of architecture, formed a sort of a portfolio that allowed me then to jumpstart into being a furniture maker. The architecture helped in terms of the processes and a way of thinking, but it was the summer projects that were the ones that allowed me start a business straight away. So this is one of the, I suppose, first pieces I had exhibited, and it's a set of 9 wood-turned vessels, all in 9 different Irish woods, and it was exhibited in the RDS as part of the National Crafts Competition. And this particular piece won the Muriel Gahan Scholarship, and it was a launch pad for a lot of other projects that came after that. That exhibition that it was in led to my work being spotted by a curator who shortlisted me for a big public art competition, which I then won, and in New Park School. That was a competition I won when I was in 4th year in UCD. So before I had finished, I had a big project that had to be done. So when I finished, I had 6 months work ahead of me. So this is my design for the New Park Comprehensive Competition. And I made 2 models, one showing the building and how my sculpture would look beside it. And the other model then is of the actual sculpture itself. So these were submitted at the competition stage alongside a booklet which shows the design and how it might look. So the inspiration for the design of the piece, I suppose, comes from thinking about schools and these public spaces and having nowhere to sit. Benches that kick in and out, creating these little pockets of space. You might end up sitting beside someone you mightn't necessarily sit beside and have a chat, and trying to create a geometry that allows for those interactions. This work is influenced from my studies in architecture in terms of the form of the pieces and the idea of how people might be encouraged to come together, to chat, to sit beside one another. That was something that I had studied in college. The purpose of documenting the whole process in the book was so that I could then show the work that I had done in this school to other schools, and that, I suppose, then has helped me gain new commissions in the years that have passed since this was completed. The best part of winning awards is getting the recognition and the media that comes along with that, which helps find new customers and get the message out there about what I'm doing. My 3 main revenue streams would be through the wood turning, which is sold in galleries and some private commissions, furniture, which is mostly commission based, and then the large outdoor pieces. A vessel would be what I'd be planning to make. Here, I would have started wood turning in secondary school. There was wood turning lathe in the classroom, so it was one of the tasks that we were allowed to try out. First process is to take the wet piece of wood, so it's after been cut with the chainsaw, When the wood is wet, it hasn't dried yet, so it's green timber, so it's fresh timber from the sawmill. It allows the wood then to be steam bent, because there's no little cracks in the wood, no hairline cracks, and then the wood is more malleable and I can make adjustments to the shape. In general, the overall size will be relative to the piece of wood, and then I'm working around any defects that I see in the wood, any little cracks, anything like that. So basically, when this is made round, that will be the overall size of the vessel. From an early age, I have been experimenting with wood, and the projects that we're doing now are a continuation of that, and it's quite an important, I suppose, aspect of the practice and what we do here. Recently we've been working with steam bending, so making apparatuses and jigs that allow complex curves to be shaped, and then that makes the pieces of furniture quite unique. Okay, so this has been steaming now for 3 hours. And then we're just going to put the strap on, which helps with the tension that comes on the wood when we're bending it. Okay, now we're going to lift it up on top of the bending jig. And we need to align it to the center point. Okay, hold on now, Corey, and go, David. Okay, stop a sec. And then, okay, the two of you then go together. Keep going, David, keep going. Okay. So a piece like this generally takes about 12 weeks from start to finish, from selecting the wood in the sawmill right through to steaming the wood, allowing it to dry, and then the finishing and shaping that is done before the piece is delivered. The steam bending, I suppose, is one thing across the vessels, the large outdoor pieces and the furniture is something that maybe this studio is particularly renowned for, and we have developed a lot of the techniques and the technology required to do that, which would be something that we're quite proud of, really. The line of the top then will be along here, and it'll curve across here. So this will be a reduced surface that'll be maybe 2-3 mil below that. Okay. So it'll define the top of the table from the curve. So it's 24. So we'll have 2 pins in there that'll fix it to the wall, and then the shelf on the underside will be set back. So that looks good. Yeah. It should work out okay. David here is making 2 chairs, and these are the back legs of a chair which I've been making since 2010. So it's my first chair design actually. So we have an order at the minute for those. So these are in oak, in European oak, and these are the legs, and they're going to be cut down the center here. And then that becomes the legs, and the 2 back legs left and right. We've been making this chair since 2010. It's quite a while, and it's gone through many iterations. The first one being made for the RDS Crafts competition in 2010. Initially it wasn't intended for mass manufacture, but we're making them now in batches of kind of 8 and 10. These drawings are of the chair and all the important dimensions and how it's laid out. So initially the first chair that was made kind of just quite, in a random nature. It was dimensions were just kind of taken as we were making it. But obviously if we're going to make a large number of something, everything has to become much more refined. So in this case we have drawn all the dimensions, we know exactly how everything goes together, so that each set of chairs then is made pretty much exactly the same. One of the makers here has drawn all the details about the different angles and dimensions that are required in order to make the chair exactly as it should be. But the initial design actually maybe very, very basic sketches, and then actually at that stage I just started making it and made the chair first and then kind of worked out the dimensions afterwards, which is a bit of a backwards way of working, but a way I would tend to work quite a bit, to try and make a piece, realize it, see what it looks like, and then work back and work out how could we actually make a couple of these, and what would we need to do, and what things need to be put in place. I enjoy the whole process, the variety of work. So I work across so many different scales. It's such a rounded experience, and to be honest, I don't really think I'd be able to do anything else. So this is a field here at the back of the farmyard, and just where my workshop is. I suppose having the studio on the farm and in the old stone buildings is really important, I suppose, and using those buildings to give them a new life. If you're 16, 17 years of age and you're wondering what to do with your life, there is lots of opportunity to do the thing that you're most passionate about. Once you're passionate and you're willing to put in the hard work, there's no reason at all why you can't make a living out of doing what you love and what you want to spend your days at. It's something that I'm thinking about all the time and trying to work out where to go next and what's the next piece or the next journey that is around the corner.